Hey everyone, good morning. Welcome to the Teach Better Today morning show where the Teach Better team gets to join you live every single morning, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern. Can you believe it? We're in our last 2 days of the Teach Better Today morning show. We so appreciate all of you that have been able to join us since we kicked off the show Monday through Friday every single day in the month of August. We kicked this off and now we're at the end of May and we're taking a summer break. So there is no better way to end this incredible school year of getting content to teachers than to feature our friend Cheryl. So I'm so excited for us to get started and we'll be right back. Hey everyone, good morning. My name is Rae Hughart and we have the amazing Cheryl Graff with us. She is a amazing educator in the Teach Better family and I'm so excited to feature you, Cheryl. How are you feeling this morning?
I'm good. I'm feeling great. It's getting towards the end of the school year, but for me, that's super exciting. I've seen so much growth and development from my students and just my own professional growth and development. So it's exciting. It's exciting. And I have more opportunities coming up this summer too. So
I know. I have to say, Cheryl, I really appreciate, and we're going to get into so many things this episode, but I really appreciate that you are a member of the Teach Better family that chooses to reach out to different people in our community when you need something. I feel like you are an educator constantly being reflective, trying to learn, create incredible opportunities for yourself, which we are going to talk about that. There's no one better than you. But what I love is like a random text from you being like, hey, do you have a second for a phone call? Is like my favorite like message I can get. And you just love picking people's brain. You are so dedicated to doing your work beautifully. And I just have to celebrate it because a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I'll reach out when I need something. And then they don't. And I'm like, use your resources.
I thank you so much, Rae. Like I always mention this to you and the entire Teach Better family. Like I'm so lucky to have you all as a support system. I have a great support system in my own little, school community and work family, but it's really nice to just connect with other people, whether it's through Teach Better or other organizations. I value people's perspective and I know that I can learn a lot from others. So that really means a lot to me. And I always love our conversations too. So.
I love our conversations, and this will apply to anyone listening. Friends, if you choose to reach out to your network, it's like 2 birds, 1 stone. You get whatever, maybe you have a question in mind, but then you also get to catch up. And Cheryl, you're somebody that inspires me. You're always doing things that I'm like, oh my God, like, okay, I don't mean this in a weird way, but I don't meet a lot of people that I'm like, wow, I wish I had their life. And every time we talk, I'm like, how do I be more like Cheryl? So Cheryl, before we get too far in, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and then we got to talk about all these opportunities you have coming up.
Yes, I'm going to try and keep it short and sweet, but I'm Cheryl. Yeah. I am currently a special education teacher in the Chicago area. This is my 7th year as a special education teacher. I've worked with a variety of grade levels, a little bit of elementary, but mostly middle school and high school. I've been working with high school now, I think 4 or 5 years. I can't keep track. I'm also an ed tech enthusiast, so a lot of certifications, like I'm ISTE certified, very big on the Google community, Google educator, Google trainer, soon to be, I don't know if I'm supposed to tell this, but soon to be Google innovator. So I'm really, really excited about that. My proposal got accepted. And yeah, I love learning. And I'm also very active with the field of transition. So ensuring especially our special education students, our diverse learner students have opportunities not just within the classroom, but getting them out into the community so that they're able to explore employment, independent living, education, because that's really, really important. because there is a percentage, sadly, that there is a lot of individuals with disabilities that are still not employed. So I feel that it's really important, especially in high school, that we do that work even earlier, really in middle school and elementary school. But I'm part of the high school setting, which is really, really important to prepare our students for life after high school. So that's kind of the gist of my bio, I think.
Yeah, friends, stick with us, because when we get to the team talk section, Cheryl, if it's okay with you, I really would love to dive into the work that you're doing at the high school level, because I've heard you speak about this before, and it is so applicable to anyone that's working with learners, period, at any age group. And I think this is it's kind of a beautiful time to discuss it, because it's going to be something that educators can chew on over the summer and implement and their next year. But before we get to all that, first off, you are somebody, seemingly, that there's like an ad on social media, or there's an opportunity that pops up that says like, apply here for maybe a little bit of a weird learning opportunity, and you choose to apply. I feel like I used to be that way. I don't know what happened. I don't know that I fall into that as much now, which shame on me, because I wonder, like, where does it come from that you're at a point in life where you see apply to teach overseas, apply to become Google certified, apply to become an ISTE educator, and like, you don't just think about it, you like go do it. Like, what am I missing right now in my life that I don't have? I don't know the final trigger. I think educators are going to bond with me on this, that I like want. I don't know, what is it?
That's a great question. I feel the more that I live, again, I'm still young, I'm in my 30s.
Right.
I really enjoy seeing the world. Again, I think what I said before, just digging into other people's perspectives is amazing. And as you briefly mentioned, one of my summer plans, I'm actually teaching abroad in Israel. I'm teaching English for 3.5 weeks. I'm not sure where I'm going to be placed yet, but you can follow me on social media at Miss Graff's Room. I'm sure I will be sharing a lot of posts on Instagram and X. Um, I just, I'm just at the point in my life again, like I really don't want to be confined to a single space. I really value, I am Jewish, but this program that I'm doing overseas is not just for Jewish individuals. There are actually, I think, like 45 of us going, and there are non-Jewish people going. There are people in the education sector, or people that just want to give back and gain a new perspective. So I think, just as an educator, as a human being, I value being in a variety of spaces. I also, like, in my free time too, I'm involved in like an art space. And I think for me, it really helps with my own like well-being to be in different spaces so I don't burn out. And that's really a key for me, is like, how can I continue the joy of educating others and also just feeling joy, for myself. So that's why I think I really apply to these different opportunities like Google Innovator and teaching overseas, because I want to continue to bring joy into my life. And then I learned so many things. And I was just telling my students today, actually, the question of the day was, I was talking to my students the day before. We had a question of the day about how do you celebrate cultures and diversity? And I was even just encouraging them to get out into the community, because you learn so much and you don't have to travel internationally. I mean, I made that choice because it's in my budget, but I'm sure no matter what community you are living in, you can find different spaces, whether it's an art space, whether it's going to a different neighborhood. I'm in Chicago, so we have so many little like pockets. We have Ukrainian Village, Pilsen, so a variety of groups. And I love to go to different events, not just travel, but just be in different spaces, because it brings me joy. And then I can bring that back into the classroom or whatever, space that I'm in, and educate others and get others, motivated to explore. So
yeah, I think as people, as human beings, especially as educators, we kind of go through different phases of life. And I remember when you told me about this trip to Israel, I was so jealous, but I also had a little bit of like, I'm not at a place in my life where I would do that right now.
right.
And then you and I even talked, like 2, 3 weeks ago. And even at that time, I was like, oh my God, it's going to be amazing. Can't wait to follow the journey. I'm not in a place where I would do
Yeah.
that. And yet today we're talking, and I'm like, wait, I think now I may be in a place where these are things that I feel ready for. I feel excited by them. I feel like I can problem solve around the hurdles that may come. Here's what I need you to do, Cheryl. Every time you apply to something, I need to get like a text being like, here's a link, go apply. Because
Right.
I like this. I like that you're connected to all these different communities, you're challenging yourself, but they're also fulfilling you as a person, and you're coming back better as an educator for your students. So we don't have to spend too much more time on this, but friends, if you are listening right now, Cheryl is somebody really taking advantage of opportunities outside of her bubble. And I constantly feel so inspired by that. I would love for all of you to get connected to her, and we can start this little awkward like group, I don't know, of texting group or Facebook group to be like, you should push yourself a little bit more. Here's a way to try that and see if it's a good fit. So I just really appreciate that you've done this because it's been inspiring for me to see, Cheryl. And the impact you're having is just astronomical. I'm so excited for you.
And I think too, to our listeners, like I take big steps, it doesn't need to be that big. Maybe it's just going to a local event in your community. Maybe it's going to a group that maybe is outside your own culture. Like that's something where you can start, because that's what I have done, especially in the arts community. Like there were classes I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like that, but I took baby steps. And I think that's also really important to stress to the listeners, that I wouldn't start super big, but maybe go to a workshop in your community, and you never know, and maybe from that workshop you'll gain inspiration, be like, hey, I really want to learn more about this topic, and then you'll go and apply to more things and maybe bigger things. So
yeah. And I mean, geez, whether it's volunteering, different opportunities, Cheryl, one of the great examples you gave was the work you've done with Google and ISTE. I know there's so many educators that are thinking, do I need to go get a master's? Maybe I should start my doctorate. I've been saying for 5 years, I'm about to start my doctorate. And I always say that, and then I'm not taking steps. Maybe the first step is to go get ISTE certified, or go get Google certified. These are smaller, more manageable projects. They're still meaningful. You're still learning things. For those of you who are interested in our Teach Better community, we have a grid method pilot program we just run. I'm sure that program will open again. It's kind of like little notches of opportunities to learn, and choosing them that interest you. That way it's like small little steps. I love that call to action, Cheryl. So we are going to dive more into our work that you're doing at the high school level, because I want to make sure we touch on that before we end this episode, already out of time. Holy moly. Stick with us. Hey friends, thanks for sticking with us. I knew this would happen. I love talking to Cheryl, and the conversation is flowing. So we're going to have a little bit of a longer episode. Sorry in advance. This is good information, especially as we wrap up this show. It is ending on Friday, so this is going to be a fun one to kick off the start to summer. Cheryl, one of the things that you noted early on in this episode is your dedication to serving students, especially in your specific school that you're working in, by exposing them to real world opportunities and different things. You and I have been able to talk about that a lot, and I love the different elements of the work you're doing. For an educator that's just going to hear a snippet of this, could you tell us a little bit more about what you like about the program, and then maybe what educators could consider if they want to move towards that direction for the fall?
Yeah, so I do a variety of programs at my school. Specifically this year, I've taken my students to the Apple Store where they've learned how to take photos on an iPhone. The classes are free, which is amazing. And I actually didn't learn about that until the Apple Coach Learning Coach program, which is amazing. But they were able to learn how to take photos and they got a headshot for their LinkedIn and resume. We've done college tours to UIC, which is University of Illinois Chicago. For those who are not in the Chicago area, it's one of the major universities. And we've gone to the disability office. I've even done just like in-person presentations at my school to get kids really interested in financial literacy, to learn how to balance a bank account, learn about credit card debt and scams. The most exciting thing, which technically it's not something that I started, one of our admin at our school started, is we actually have a partnership with Germany. We took a group of students this year, 7 students, and they were able to stay with host families in Hamburg, Germany. And they went to school with their German student that they were staying with. And we did activities as a group and a lot of sightseeing. And then next year, we're hoping that the Germans, it's going to be a new group of students next year, and we want the German students to come over to our school and stay with our students in their home, and then go to school with our students. And then in the spring of next year, we're going to do the same thing and go to Germany and just experience German culture. So it was absolutely amazing. That is a very big program. I think for our listeners, to start thinking small, think about what your students specifically need. And I did a lot of, I should say, not myself, but we have a team at my school, which is a transition team where we focus on developing these initiatives in the areas of employment, independent living, and education. So I would first survey your students to figure out what they need. And there are different types of transition post-secondary surveys that you can do at an elementary, middle school, or high school level. And I would interview to see, what careers are they interested in? There are surveys that ask them like, hey, do I know how to write a resume? Do I know how to, balance a bank account? Do I understand what credit cards are? And then we looked at the surveys to figure out what kinds of trips we need to do to support our students. And especially last week during when this airs, I think it's going to be later, but weeks before, during Teacher Appreciation Week this year, a lot of students wrote me letters like, thank you, Ms. Graff, for giving me these field trips, these opportunities that I would not get. So I think the foundation for all of our listeners is to really survey your kiddos. What do they need? And then I would have conversations with their families too, especially going into next school year. One of the things that I do and also my team does is we call families and ask, how can I best support your child? What are your goals for your child this school year? And I think building those connections with students and families is really going to help you decide what kinds of trips you need. And a lot of the trips we do are free. The Apple one, if you go to like Apple Groups, I forget the whole website, but it's like today at Apple/groups, it's free. But you can only bring like 15 students. But, if you have a large class or like, a cohort, you could do like little mini cohorts and bring them every couple of months, to do different workshops with Apple, and they will align it to what you're working on in the classroom. So that's my best advice, because I wouldn't start with a massive event, even if it's just partnering with an organization in your community. Like, hey, you do such great work. Would you be willing to come in and do an in-person presentation to get kids excited? A couple weeks ago, we had the Illinois Department of Human Services come in. And she did just an in-person presentation for 2 class periods, getting kids excited, because we do have kids that they don't want to go to college. They want to get a job right after high school, but they're not sure how to get financial support, how to get books for the career or certifications that they're interested in. So even just having an organization come in, like a big community agency, come in and do mini presentations, I think is just a good start to getting your kids the services and supports that they need.
I love it. Friends, if you're looking for other resources outside of reaching out to Cheryl for this, a lot of communities in the US will have business bureaus that are specific to that community. They're a very, very beneficial free resource for you to use as well to get those points of contact. Cheryl, I could talk to you all day. We say this every single time we catch up, but have our community reach out to you and if they have questions, how can they stay in contact with you?
Well, you can follow me on X, Instagram. I'm also on LinkedIn at Miss Graff's Room. That is the best way to reach me. I'm also on Facebook too, but it's like my first name and my middle name. Feel free to add me on, Facebook. Let's stay connected. One last thing, Rae, too, I wanted to encourage our listeners also to reach out to your Board of Education, and usually they have a section of talking about special education services, and they list different agencies. So I would even start there too, because a lot of the work that I've done, I'm in Illinois, so I've gone onto the Illinois Board of Education website and gone under, they have a category for special education services, and that's where they list kind of the major community agencies. And from there, you can dig a little deeper and find the specific agencies that you're looking for. So
good. Guys, I'm telling you, she's a wealth of knowledge. You have to reach out. Go follow her on your favorite social media, stay connected, and of course, stalk her journey this summer, because Cheryl, we all want to live vicariously through you as you're spreading your incredible knowledge and also learning from different people around the world. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. You're always such a ball to talk to. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much, Rae, for having me. Thank you, everybody. It's always great to be a part of this, and I love my Teach Better family.
Oh, we love you too. Thank you for being so active in our Teach Better family. And friends, if you need anything, whether it be a way to contact Cheryl because it's not coming up for you or anything in between, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'll wrap up the show on Friday this week. Makes me so sad, but we are not going anywhere. You always have your team around in case you need anything. We'll see you very soon, friends. Have an amazing day. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Hey, Teach Better community. Thank you so much for joining the Teach Better Today morning show every single weekday at 7 a.m. Eastern. We have so many resources for you outside of this live stream at teachbetter.com, including blogs, podcasts, and professional development that will bring our team to your school. Wherever you are listening from this morning, please make sure you are sharing and celebrating the incredible educators in this world. And hey, if you are listening over on a podcast to Teach Better Talk, we would love a 5-star review. The comments are always so entertaining. We'll see you tomorrow.